Welcome everyone to the Ringside Podcast. I'm Daniel Spencer.
I'm Jeremy Wallman.
I'm Eric Cornish.
And I'm Linda Kay.
All right, guys, we got some excited. We got a lot on the show today. We kind of just, as we're getting to the end of the year, getting to the end of the season, we kind of like scrambled a bunch of stuff into one. But hey, why not, right? I'm gonna go straight into it. A couple weeks ago, we were gonna have a special OVW announcement that was gonna be made on the show. Unfortunately, it had to be postponed, so we was able to still make an announcement about Christmas Chaos. At the time, it was going to go in the Louisville Slugger field. It now has been moved back to the Davis Arena this Saturday. By the way, it's sold out, but you can go to ovwrestling.com and purchase the link there. Use promo code Ringside to save a little money on that, and you can watch it live on pay-per-view. But we have, one of that part of that announcement was going to happen on this show, and that announcement happened today, though, on the press release by Matt Jones and through the OVW social media. So we're just going to bring him on right now, ladies and gentlemen, the new CEO of OVW, Ed Payer. Ed, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's quite a pleasure. I mean, we've been. For those that don't know, most of us have been talking for the last month or so, but very excited to be on board here.
We are truly not worthy.
Yeah, it's of course, Ed and I, Eric and Linda can say the same thing. We've got to know you over the last 6 or 7 weeks, something like that. So you definitely, we've definitely kind of known what you've been doing and what you've been, what's been happening, but we're all kind of behind the scenes. So we kind of see that, but the people watching right now, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Hey, by the way, just retweet, share, like the whole 9 yards, whatever you got to do to kind of get more views on this. We appreciate that. But it's, want to bring you on to kind of elaborate kind of what this means in the world of OVW. Everybody can read that statement and it says a lot, but we want to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? Not just what the paper says.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, excited to be joining, Gladiator Sports Network and OVW. I think that our team and myself bring a wealth of experience in the business world and also a good injection of financial capital to stabilize OVW. I think the Netflix series truly demonstrated, some of the, shortfalls that they were facing. And, things are better since the Netflix series. But I think with us coming in with a new vision, with some new modifications to the arena that some of the people I've seen, a new production room, investment in talent, I think for us, working with Matt and the partnership group, I think moving forward is very exciting because together we're a better force today than what it was before. So, we're very excited. It was challenging to, like you say, to try to get things done a few weeks ago, but we all know, how the business world works here. So, very, very happy, excited. I mean, we have a lot of work to do, and I think that. People are going to be shocked at what's coming up there in the next few weeks here.
For me, as somebody, Daniel likes to point out all the time, I'm the only guy that doesn't work for OVW on the podcast. He likes to stick that, to me every week. But just as a consumer and somebody that enjoys the product, I could immediate changes, the quality of how everything looked. Me and Daniel were talking earlier today, and I told him, I was like, it's almost like a mini NXT now, because I've been to NXT multiple times. I don't know how often anybody else has, but when you go to NXT, it's got a great feel to it. It's all wrapped around. The production value is fantastic. It looks good in person, and it really felt like that first week I came in after the changes were made. I could tell that changes were made. And for me, as somebody who does pay, who pays my hard-earned money to come and watch it, I was like, this feels like I'm at a pay-per-view every week. It was such a jump in quality, production. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for coming in and having the faith in OVW. Like I was telling you before the show, this is something I've watched since OVW was across the river in Mechanic Street in that old dingy building, and there was no TVs. There was no announcer's booth. There wasn't even any of the stuff we saw at Davis Arena when you got there. So to see it come you almost have, as somebody who's came to OVW as long as I have, you almost feel like you own a piece of it. You're proud of it when it does well. And I don't own any of it. Daniel will tell you, and he'll point it out. But if you haven't noticed, I give him a hard time a lot. That's just our thing. It's our yin and yang. But no, coming from a fan, I've seen the immediate results of you taking over, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. I think the honesty, we needed to make some changes. We needed to step up the game of OVW. I mean, we have a vision. I won't hide it. The vision is I want to be the third biggest promotion in the United States. We know that the top two who they are, but I think underneath, some of the mecca franchise here, that we have a great opportunity. We have a lot of things in the works. Just by changing the arena, changing some of our lights, our cameras. I mean, we're about 50% done in our what I call production improvements. You'll probably start seeing some more at the pay-per-view coming up also. And we're very excited. We're very excited to where it's going.
Yeah. So initially, what brought you to OVW? I know we've had discussions, but let's let everyone here know what initially brought your interest to OVW.
So for the people that don't know who I am, I'm kind of like this serial entrepreneur here. I have multiple businesses, and believe it or not, I was flying to London in the UK on a plane, and I started watching the show on Netflix, and then I was like, okay. At first I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just watching it. And then as I started going, got back home and I started looking at it. And then I started thinking and looking at their social media and seeing the uptick that they had on their social media platforms and how they weren't leveraging all the traffic that was coming to their site and the excitement and all the social media buzz. I went to one of my partners and I said, is this an opportunity for us? And he did his research and he's like, buy in right now. And when in that day, I remember sending a Twitter message to Matt, and we started talking. I see a tremendous opportunity, for this financially and also entertainment-wise, and it opens up a new door in my life. For people just listening in, I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. I mean, the people that know me, I know some of the big players in the industry, but learning more of the let's call it a second tier wrestling league here or promotion. I'm coming in with my eyes closed, but I want to give it its credit due. I want to bring the production to what I've seen in some of the bigger promotions, and it is exciting, but it is also a challenge. It is also learning the new curve and trying to not get involved too much into the wrestling storylines, which is as Al Snow's he's the greatest at it. But sometimes, when your heart is committed to something, you try to get involved. But I think so far, I'll leave that up to you guys that are in the wrestling world better than I am. And then, I might give my opinion once in a while, but it's not my intentions to get involved here.
Well, and you mentioned Al, and I think a lot of people reading the press release, or maybe they haven't seen it, who have watched the show, have seen the documentary, want to know what role will Al and Matt play going forward here.
You know what? I seen a lot of comments too today, and I didn't want to really kind of answer and get into that social media wormhole here because Matt is our chairman of Gladiator Sports Network. Matt will be responsible a lot of the touring. A lot of his, what Matt is good at, raising events and doing stuff in Kentucky. And actually, we are going to be visiting neighboring states. We have some things in the pipeline that's going to be announced very shortly. So stay tuned, folks. We might be coming to a city near you. Al is the creative genius. I mean, Al is in charge of what we call, I don't have a specific title for Al here, but Al is in charge of all wrestling. I mean, Al's in charge of the academy. Al is in charge of making sure our matches are done, and he runs basically OVW when it comes to talent wise. He's who am I or some of my partners to tell a wrestling legend to how to run a match, how to run that production and cameras. So yeah, so we've kind of divided our roles. Me as CEO, day-to-day operation. I have a few vice presidents underneath me that, going to be handling some of the day-to-day stuff. And then, we report to our board, and our board is some of our owners that we have. I mean, there's still some people, Craig that was there, the mayor of Louisville, is still part of our ownership group with Matt. And we're all business partners. And ultimately, we want to do what's best for OVW.
One of the things that, you can see from the very beginning, and you kind of alluded to this and talked about the changes and whatnot, is that you were ready to hit the ground running. There was no like, all right, well, we're going to take time. I'm going to see how much this is cost. I'm going to look for, you look for the best stuff, but you went, okay, this is what needs to be done, and we're going to do it. And, with the very first day or the second day, a wall was coming down, things were moving, things were changing. It's like, is that a work ethic that you kind of, owning all these other businesses, and is that a work ethic you were raised with, or is that just something you inherited over time, being a business owner?
Well, I think I inherited over time. I mean, we all go through things in life, and successes and failures, and you learn from them, and you know how to do something. When I saw this opportunity at OVW, I was like, we don't have time to waste. We're on Netflix right now. We're getting the surge and things like that. We need to make a change. We need to make a stamp on what we need to do. And I'm in a stage of my life right now. I'm still young. I'm still 45 years old here, but I don't waste time. Why wait? Let's just do it. It takes money. It takes some capital to make some of these changes and stuff like that. But we had a budget in sight. We had a goal in sight, and it's going very well. And there's going to be many more changes. And from talent, to a little bit of talent addition to some other surprises. Like I said, we're going to divulge in the next week or so. But why wait? I mean, for the people that have been at the arena, or for the people that have seen it, on our streaming things, and you guys have seen that we're making changes. We're making changes to broadcast more on YouTube and Facebook, and soon on Twitter, and then Twitch and things like that, instead of Fight TV, because it is we get to engage our audience a bit better. We get to reach out to more sponsors and advertisers, because we can run our own advertising, and that's been going very well. We just signed a partnership with Danos here, which is really going to help us for our touring. We have a few more that are going to be announced in the next day or so, which are exciting. And the reality is, without sponsors, to promote, it's hard to improve. I mean, you can throw money at pretty much any solution in the world, but we also have to be smart with our business dollars. And I think the team we have right now is going to make that a reality.
One of the things that
I'll chime in real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to chime in real quick to show that he meant business. I mean, and he was working from day one. I mean, he knew me, maybe a few hours, and I show up at the arena. What do you need me to do? He hands me a credit card and says, go get me 10 TVs. You know what I mean? So it's just not something that happens with everybody, but you knew that he meant business from day one. And that was, that was the great thing about Ed coming in, is like, in the wrestling business, you just never know. And I think a lot of us that have been in it for a long time, as I have, guys like Cash Flow have been in it for a long time. We've heard the talk. We've heard people say it forever. And I've had this conversation with Matt Jones before. It was the same way. It's like, you can't just say something, because we know we've heard it all, but to see something in action that quick, you taught us all, like, this is for real. So we thank you for that.
Well, I think also, let's be honest, is that, as I don't want to call myself a leader here, but as a leader, is I go by my actions, and then I hope that everybody else that's around myself does the same thing. I think people get inspired. I think people, show up and do their best. And I think, I think my biggest surprise is how well it's been received from the talent. Coming in off the street, coming into the wrestling world, oh, you're just a mark. You're just a guy with money. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. But actually, you're not going to do anything. But the reality is, I think that if you talk to any of our talent right now, they're very appreciative of everything we're doing. And I actually, for me, I consider myself somewhat part of the family. Maybe after Christmas, I'll be part of the family. But ultimately, what we want to do is to make sure that we give these women and men an opportunity here to go to that next level. The reality is that we'll never be in a position to offer these $500,000 contracts like the WWE and AEW offers. But you know what? I'd like to be able to, be a stage for them to show their skills. I mean, people have to realize is that we're only the third promotion that runs a weekly TV show. I mean, a lot of talent is looking for that TV exposure time to get out there, and ultimately, there's not a whole lot out there. So we're a perfect stage for them. We're a perfect stage for them to showcase their name, so they get to promote themselves and get booked to these weekend shows. I mean, the reality is that that's how the talent makes their money, right? It's traveling and driving 6 hours on a Friday to go ashore, driving 7 hours to go on a show on Saturday, and then back to their regular jobs. I mean, people have to realize that most of these people have regular jobs here because it is a hard industry, and I want to give them credit, and I want to give them a place that they can be proud to come in.
Daniel.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to add a couple things. We were talking earlier about how cool it was that people just like Enzo or James Storm and guys like that have been popping in and out. How awesome that, because I know that Enzo normally wrestles up east. I don't have a lot of opportunities to travel up to watch him. So he was the reason. Well, I mean, he was the main reason where there was a moment where I was like, am I going to go tonight or not? Oh, Enzo's going to be there. I'm absolutely going to go. I wasn't feeling well though. That's the only reason, because I normally am there every week when I can be there. But I was like, oh, Enzo's going to be there. That's awesome. And just hearing that there are more surprises like that on the way, as a true wrestling fan, that does excite me. But what I will say for them, because I don't know how much they've shared or not, but I remember the day that they told me that you were joining the team, and they were like, well, hopefully, this works out well, and he's joining the team. We've heard this before. And then the next day they were all blown away by how hard you were working. And they had so many, they're like, oh my God, these changes are actually happening now. We're not having to wait for it. This is so awesome. So not trying to put them over or anything, but they were appreciative from minute one of you jumping on the team.
Well, one of the things that Eric talked about, and you just kind of mentioned, Ed came in and not only said, here's a credit card, let's go buy this because it's what we need. He actually said, oh, this wall needs to come down, give me a sledgehammer, and he's tearing it down and he's helping build up the new wall or whatever, the painting the wall. Like Ed, you were doing the work, and that was showing, and that is good leadership. It shows that, hey, I'm not just demanding you all to do it and help out. Like, we're going to all do it together. Like, we're together. We're a team. And I think that was what shocked us, because, anybody else that would have came in would have been like, dictating, pointing, and then walked away. And that was kind of cool. And it showed us who you were as a person. I want to back up on something you alluded to earlier when you talked about sponsorships and things like that to kind of get things going. One of the things I remember watching OVW in the WWE days when they were developmental, and even a little bit in the TNA days, was that when you turn on the OVW TV weekly, you saw like ads everywhere. Like, you saw like signs, and you knew like the local radio station, and you knew the local pizza joint, and you knew all these the car dealerships. You knew all this stuff because they were everywhere. And I know we've talked, and I know I'm not gonna but I know, but I want you to allude to talk about this. But that is your desire again, to have that, to kind of have those partnerships and have those local places plastered, even national places plastered all over the place, and let them know, hey, we're all in this together.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to the social media. I think it comes back to we have people might not know this, but we have 13 million impressions on social media every month. That means 13 million people see OVW cross somewhere on any platforms. We have 1.7 million views on a weekly basis that come to all our platforms and our talent. I mean, we have some talent that are influencers. There's money to be made with influencers. We have people that have 1 million followers. We have a gentleman by Shira that comes from a country of $1.7 billion, and he had 68.9 million impression in the last year. When you start knowing the analytics of social media and how that is important for a business, what they pay just to get that traffic, to get their name out there, this is an avenue for us to promote them. I mean, we have an average of 30,000 people that watch our show on YouTube. I can guarantee you that most of the clients that currently advertise in the local newspaper or, whatever they pay, they don't get 30,000 people to view their ads. That is something that we want to offer the community, and not just the community. I mean, we're talking to some major sponsors right now because of the national coverage. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have people watching us all over the world here, and it's only growing. And I think that my goals by 2024 is to have 100,000 people watching our show on a weekly basis. Well, that is advertising dollars. I mean, if you really bring it down to advertising, that is a dream for a lot of businesses. And a company like Dano stepped up. They stepped up with a huge promotion and a huge sponsorship for us. And guys are going to see them, sponsoring Christmas Chaos and then a few events on the road. And as we, start traveling in neighboring states, we're looking for those sponsors, because ultimately it's going to generate revenue for them. And it's also going to generate the revenue for OVW. You guys have seen the struggles of OVW. I mean, you have seen it. I mean, it's literally all over the world right now because of that. And without the community, without people coming to the arena, without people, investing their dollar. And we do understand it is a stretch for some people to come every single week, because we have our core fans that come, and, we're based in a blue collar, city, and, it's about to be Christmas right now. And we do understand. And, we're coming out with some new pricing, and I can announce, certain things right now is that, kids under 10 with a purchase of an adult are going to be free starting in 2024. Because I do understand this is also a family sport, and we want families to come and we want families to feel welcome. Well, a single mom or a single dad, even a family with 2-3 kids to come to our show right now is a $50-$60 ticket for them, and even more here. And once you factor in, because the kid wants a popcorn, things like that, we want this to become also a family atmosphere. So with the help of sponsors, with the help of the community, we can make those things happen. So we're very excited with that coming along here.
Speaking of the community, what is your take on the community itself? I mean, are you looking in 2024 for OVW to kind of do more community events? Because that's something OVW used to do in the past, but over the last couple of years, it's kind of been hit or miss as far as what they've done in the community. Are you looking to make an imprint there?
Well, I would love to. A big part of my life in the last year and a half has been contribution. I mean, we have a non-for-profit that helps kids in Africa and things like that. So there's a lot of things I would love to do, and especially some of our talents. Some of us I've approached to see how we could help out more. I mean, there's all sorts of worthy causes here that we could support and be an imprint in the community. I mean, let's be honest. One of our co-owners is the mayor of Louisville. I'd love to create some sort of initiative to help children through OVW, and maybe visiting hospitals, maybe doing that, because we have to realize that for these kids, some of these kids, it's their heroes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I every Thursday, and I've only missed one Thursday since I've been there, but people are outside at 4:00 lining up for a 7 p.m. show, and these little kids there that come to see their heroes. And the reality is, we might have some of these heroes some of these children that, are stuck at the children's hospital or something like that I'd love to bring some of our talent there, because, we've put Louisville on the map. I mean, yeah, the Derby's in town, and, the big universities around there. But I mean, you know what? I don't remember Louisville having another Netflix show, unless you guys can correct me on that one. But there's still a lot of people that watched it. I mean, we were just nominated for an independent film award here for the best docuseries, and that's just the first award. And we're very excited to see where that goes, and continue putting Louisville in the region in the spot. But it's also bigger than Louisville right now. The reality is that we're trying to become a global brand, and we have a global audience. I mean, you could just look on our YouTube and all where people are from and things like that, and you'd be surprised where people actually watching our show at 3 a.m. in Australia or in the UK. So it's pretty exciting.
Speaking of putting on the map, I mean, just last night on Monday Night Raw, a gentleman by the name of CM Punk actually said the words Louisville, Kentucky, OVW live on Monday Night Raw. And that's not the first one that's done it this year, because Cody Rhodes has done it once or twice, and so on and so forth. So it is still a very, very common name and stable in this industry. And so you're right when you said you kind of put it on the map. I mean, people still know that OVW is there and where it came from. And there's some that think don't know it's still, like, thought it went away. So that's the beauty behind this I think this new marketing, this new with Netflix and just everything going on in the future, is that we're going to make sure everyone in Louisville does know that OVW is still here, and come check it out for sure.
So what are some other changes that you can announce tonight here with us at Ringside Podcast?
Well, I think some of the changes that we're making is that, I can say it, Daniel Spencer on this thing is going to be one of our full-time employees here to really help us with talent relation, and especially when we go on the tour, and making sure, Daniel has a wealth of experience through his TNA Impact days, and he's still there. But I think surrounding myself with key people that do understand the business. I think we're making a big push for the Wrestling Academy right now, the OV Academy. We have close to 30 people registered for starting in January, and then we have, we plan to run four semesters this year, so that's really going to stabilize it. There's some other things that, to be honest, I'm so excited to tell you guys, but you know what? I won't. We got to keep certain things a secret. I think when you guys are going to hear certain things coming up in the next few weeks, and if you start putting pieces to the puzzle, I think you guys are going to be shocked. I think that, you guys are going to be pretty excited for what's coming up. If there's one thing I do, is I don't stand still. Status quo is never good enough. We always have to improve. We always have to bring something in. We started off with Enzo, he'll be back. Okay, he'll be back. I'll just leave it there. And we have other people that are coming, and we have other things that we're going to announce. There's some bigger announcements that we'll do that, but it's also the small announcements. It's also, like I said, we've added more premium seats right now. We're making these changes. We're adding lower thirds and better graphics. You guys seen our Christmas Chaos poster, right? So we're improving one thing at a time, and we also have to realize that, I could dump a lot of money into this, but we also got to let our staff get used to the new equipment, getting used to the new cameras, getting used to the new video equipment. And I'll be honest, it's been a struggle, but the reality is everybody's doing their best right now. And I'm so proud of everybody, that's doing it, but it's also getting to learn to work with each other. You guys have seen it in Netflix show, right? It's there's a lot of personalities that are involved, and I think now we're learning to work in each of our lanes, and we're trying to adapt to some of our new roles, and it's harder for some people, and some people are raising up the bar, and some people are also a little bit more gun shy. There's a new there's a new CEO in town, and we have a proper board now, meetings, and we have weekly meetings, and it's people are held accountable. And I think by doing that, we're stepping up our game. And hopefully, as the fans are actually seeing that we're actually, really running this as a professional organization here. I run 5 other businesses, and I want them to be run all the same. And the deep down is I'm financially responsible for the future of OVW. So we want to do the things the right way.
And you have definitely proven that and started that. And I'm excited for 2024 for sure. I'm excited for just this week. We got a special this Thursday. If you come on out, if you're in the area right now, use the promo code HOLIDAY on ovwrestling.com. Get a 2-for-1 special. That's right. You buy one, you get one. So be there. You never know who's going to show up also on Thursday nights at any time. So just there you go. How about a teaser for you? And then of course Saturday, if you're going to be live at the Davis Arena for Christmas Chaos, awesome. But if you're not, you can still watch it on pay-per-view. Just go to ovwrestling.com. And you can use that promo code ringside there and save a little money, a couple bucks, and you get to watch it free. It'll give you a YouTube link just for you, and you can just cast it right to your TV and watch it that way. So it's a pretty cool new thing we're doing, launching. This is our first one, right, that we're doing this way?
Yeah, it's the first one that we're doing through YouTube. Through you go through our website, through Ticket Spice, you purchase a link. We get to have better control while we're doing that. And that's some of the change that we want to implement, because we get to work with that a little easier. Most people that are, one of my biggest thing that I kind of, as soon as I started, was OVW returns in a minute 55. Drove me nuts. And I was like, no, we're no longer doing that. I need to do it this way, because this is the way. I mean, we all know that streaming services and social media is taking a bigger step in the world today. I mean, cable TV is still there, but the reality is people are going to Netflix, people are going to, all these streaming apps, and you can watch it anywhere from the world. So I think with our team, we're very focused on that. And I think with the support of, the ownership, and I'll be honest, I'm super grateful for the opportunity that Matt and the team has given us, and really letting us really take this in a very different direction, so they could take a step back and let us do what we want. And it takes courage. It takes courage for them to let us in, basically give us the keys and trust us, and and basically make changes and let it go. So I'm very grateful. Everybody's seen the documentary, and everybody, seen the battles between Matt and Al and things like that. Well, you know what? There's no battles right now with any of us, because we're actually, trying to, make it work. I mean, the reality is we have no choice to make it work. We have close to 50 talent here. We have full-time employees that, I am responsible. And you know what? I want to make sure that, I get to be in this podcast, for many years to come here. And hopefully that, with all the changes we make, people are going to show up. And especially when we go on the road, people are going to show up, because the reality is that's the outcome.
Absolutely.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited, super pumped. And Ed, we appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take too much of your time. I wanted to kind of, as we talked earlier, as I said, you alluded to too. I mean, we were going to make this announcement on the podcast, but unfortunately, we had to be done a different way. And but we appreciate you still being respectful and decided to come on and kind of the first day of the announcement and say, hey, let's talk to us, talk to the fans, and kind of hear your perspective of what's going to happen. And I think we need to. I'm hoping we have you back on in a few months down the road, and after everything gets going, and we can kind of look back at where it was at the end of the year and where it is now, because I know I'm biased because I'm part of it, but I feel like we're going to go, holy cow, look at where we're at 4 months down the road, from now. So it's exciting for sure.
Just stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. That's all I can say. And thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure. And, anytime you guys need me, just holler at me, and we'll make it happen. And then we'll go from there.
I want to know all the surprises now. Ed, text me, call me, or something else. So let me know what's going on. I cannot wait. I'm still 4 years old mentally. Let me know. I'm
not letting Jeremy know I know any of them. So there you go.
There you go. Let's leave it like that. But you know what? Honestly, as a wrestling fan in general, I'm excited.
Okay.
Yes.
And so as what I call a high level wrestling fan, I'm excited for what's coming up. So, like I said, stay tuned, folks. Have a good night, and I hope to see you guys Thursday. And hope you guys purchase that pay-per-view, and let's hit a home run.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks again.
Ed.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. See you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want
to run through a brick wall for the dude. I can't imagine how y'all do.
I mean, that's what I do every day.
Some of us literally did that, like literally ran through walls and knocked them down. You know what? The one thing we didn't ask him, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners were wondering, is what part of Kentucky he is from.
Yeah.
No. Obviously, also from the same region, a lot of your other company's owners are from there, Daniel, the Great White North.
Yes, for the Great White North. I'm surrounded by Canadians. I'm one day I guess I want to marry a Canadian. I don't know, but I'm surrounded by tons of Canadians all everywhere I go. So it for sure. You can tell he's from the Great White North, and that's I think that just shows who he is as a person, because I've never met a bad Canadian. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
What are these special in the chat line, which has been blowing up the whole time he was on? We appreciate y'all for joining us. What are these rumors of a special couple of guests coming to Louisville? I haven't heard any rumors.
I don't know. I don't know any rumors about a special guest coming in.
Okay.
No.
I love all the teases, but I want them to be back. I want them to happen. There's nothing more than I hate than a special announcement that's just something that was already going to happen anyway.
I mean, there again, I did say you never know who's going to show up, so you should be there Thursday night. So
that's true.
I did say that. I'm pretty sure I said it for a reason. There you go. Remember Joe? Oh man, I forgot. Joe Mack is Canadian. Yeah. I guess I have met a terrible Canadian. He's at least a baby.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
By the way, I've got to give big props, and I know our buddy John Cosper already did, but I think it was Lloyd's photograph of Joe Mack laying on the floor and Gracie just berating him from last week. One of the greatest pictures I've ever seen in my life. It's awesome.
Yeah. That was all. That was Lloyd. You said Lloyd did that?
I'm pretty sure it was Lloyd's.
I think it was Lloyd.
So, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's the greatest feud that hopefully they need to have a match or something that needs to come to an end when it's
another
said and
10
done.
years. It's going to happen.
It was Lloyd. You can't really see because all the
it can't happen in Kentucky, but on this tour it could happen in other states. Don't need to be 18 to get in the ring. On that portion.
We don't know. I don't know if Wesley's on the feed tonight, but if Wes agrees to it, I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Wesley normally is on the feed. I haven't seen him in all the night, so he must be. It's a holiday, so understand people not chiming in. Sometimes they chime in later on the on-demand version. But guys, here pretty soon we're going to be joined by the Babyfaces Podcast. A little collab we're going to do at the end of the show, kind of talk a little bit about wrestling, OVW itself, but also what's going on in the world of professional wrestling out there when it comes to WWE and little AEW and maybe some TNA. How about it?
I don't know if you saw it today. They had the big premiere of the Iron Claw. Which I cannot wait to see that movie. By the way,
was it today or yesterday?
I think it was today, but if not, that's where at least I saw the pictures today.
Yeah.
But one of the epic photos of John Cena and MJF together. How about that?
Did you see John Cena's social media today on Instagram?
No.
All right, I'll go to it. This is what John Cena. No, John Cena wasn't.
You can't ever see Cena,
No, it wasn't something to do with Cena. This is his Instagram post.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of Cena's posts are very cryptic, or just it's never really him because you can't see him. But that's interesting.
The Burberry pattern, huh?
That's a very nice scarf there. Looks familiar.
That's familiar.
Awesome. So, let the rumors start. 2024, the bidding war of 2024, right?
It's true. Yeah. Cena to AEW confirmed.
Oh my God.
What are we going to do now that CM Punk's back in WWE? We're going to have to come up with something else.
Yeah, well.
My mind is still blown by that, by the way. Being able to see him last night in the same ring with Seth freaking Rollins was
Listen.
amazing.
Did I tell you, or did I tell you, that there was a reason it was so soft when he first debuted and why he said what he said about being home and everything? Because without that, you wouldn't have had last night.
Right.
And you wouldn't have had your NXT one, and you wouldn't have had your SmackDown one. The SmackDown one was amazing.
It was really good, but it's. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's one thing I've learned is never question the great Eric Cornish.
Right? No, but even the SmackDown one, I thought the SmackDown one was. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like pipe bomb worthy, but it had some good little nuggets in it. But it all had to just be tame enough to get Seth to come out last night. And I thought, beautifully done, exactly what I expected to get to eventually. And I think it'll be better. Punk's going to explode eventually, and
I agree.
Let it all out.
Up. Yeah, I think he's building up. What an amazing line from SmackDown. I don't know if I can work with Kevin. He's so prickly. I mean, how can I work with somebody that just goes around backstage punching people in the face? It's 2023, guys. You can't be doing that.
Great line. Great line.
The worst part was it was almost like the crowd didn't get it. They were like, "Huh?"
I'm sure there's some of them that didn't. I mean, not all of them are into what's going on.
Well, not only that, remember, they're out of the people that watch AEW, 600,000, right? So out of the 600,000 people that watch AEW, probably only half of that knows about the situation and studies and follows. So you're looking at 300,000, and then maybe even less than that really, 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 really get all the details or whatever. So, WB fans, they average, especially on SmackDown, almost 3 million. So there's a big disconnect between, the AEW audience and SmackDown audience. It's just the truth. And I'm not trying to knock anything. It's just the truth. I mean, I'll be honest. There's a big disconnect between SmackDown and TNA. So I'm just right there with you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to knock anybody.
That's the thing. When you do those insider pipe bomb type promos, you have to give enough of general statements that everybody gets and throw in those little barbs that maybe only the insiders get. And that's what made the SmackDown promos so good. And that's what makes a lot of AEW insider promos not so good, because, all of it has to be inside, and it's sometimes not everybody gets that. So
we just kind of talked about that recently on here, how it happens a lot on AEW. There are references to WWE, some slight, some very obvious, some really just giving it away right there, but we don't get that often on WWE. But of course, with CM Punk, we got that, and it was just interesting. But I will say, I do like the utilization of Punk right now. I mean, him being at NXT, it's Deadline started with Shawn Michaels coming out, him bringing out CM Punk. It was just very unexpected to see them two together like that, and seeing just that relationship, that chemistry. I don't know, but it's just it's really nice seeing Punk talking, connecting, just interacting with those that you just wouldn't picture.
And here's the thing too that I'm noticing. When Punk is out there and you hear those CM Punk chants, he's in Cleveland, name your other city that's not Chicago. It's not Chicago. So which means that it wasn't just the Chicago crowd that chants CM Punk. The guys are every one of those fans are excited to see him. And granted, he might one day make you not excited to see him, but right now you're excited to see him. You're getting those chances, and I know those shirts are flying off the shelf. And what's crazy about it is I saw an Instagram where he's signing all those little autographs and goes up for sale, and I'm like, I don't think CM Punk would have done that in that other company last year.
They did his first night. He was in the six figures as far as merch sell. But I'm with seeing him come out in that Bret Hart hoodie and then interacting with Shawn Michaels was awesome. And I don't know what it is about AEW, but guys like him and Edge and Jericho, they go over there and to me, they look so ran down and old. He has never.
My gosh. You were so right. I was just going to say that about Punk, because I noticed that.
So happy, so young, so refreshed. I even went back to his second AEW return after he was gone for a year for whatever it was. I don't remember why he was gone. And he just looked so miserable and angry. And even though he was talking, I'm so happy that I'm not in the place that got me sick the first time. Well, you look sick, bro. And then when you came out at Survivor Series, you looked like you had decreased in age by 10 years.
Yeah.
It's something about, I don't think he was very happy. Obviously he wasn't. He was owed tired and work with children. So he wasn't very happy. And I think that it took him to a level. I mean, I've had a mentally, somebody just put AEW is mentally draining for him. It probably was. I mean, I've had mentally draining year or months myself. So I know how that feels when you're like, like go through something like that and gets there. Yes. Appreciate somebody. Clint said this. Congratulations, Daniel Spencer. Yes, more details to come. I don't think I can. I mean, Ed did say it, but he didn't officially say anything yet. But there'll be an official announcement somewhere down the line. But yes, I am coming on board.
He said it, but he didn't say it. But he said it, but he didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with Eric Montgomery. Jeremy for Ringside Podcast Employee. I've put in a lot of years here, and I've never won the Employee of the Year award. Somehow it's always been rigged to where Daniel wins it. I feel like I've earned it this year.
Did I win it every year? I mean, Linda won it one year.
I did?
Yeah.
She probably wins it every year from here on out, to be honest with you.
For sure.
As long as she's here.
I'm excited for tonight. That was a great.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But we're about to have a different pod. Can you imagine us having somebody from a different podcast on our show?
Yeah.
How refreshing that point of view. I know there's a lot of other podcasts that listen to our show, but for us to select these guys to come on here and do it with us, they're personal friends of yours, Daniel. I've known Austin for probably about 11, 12 years just from Twitter. Great dude. I can't wait to get on and chop it up with somebody who does a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, no, it is nice to talk to some other people. I mean, these guys, you know what? These guys remind me of, I don't know, man. These guys are like official, right? They're in the iHeartRadio world. They're just right there. They're Babyface Pod. I mean, that you've seen the interviews they've done. I mean, they're some official guys, and if
they're baby faces, that means there's somebody else out there that's a heel. It's not us.
Of course. No, it's not us at all. I would say when you're official, you are a baby face. That's who you are. I guess if you're unofficial, then you would be a heel.
Hey, sounds like as good of an explanation as anything.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm kind of a heel. I fancy myself a heel, but I get it.
That's why your heel glasses. They're at the
I
sun.
put my heel glasses on. Yeah, for sure.
Ringside Podcast are the heels. Come on now, we're not the heels.
The cool kids, absolutely. I am.
Yeah. Come on, Clint.
Maybe the NWO version, like too sweet, and doing all that.
Nope.
By the way, there's a commercial that popped on during football yesterday or Sunday, and it was it was the Jimi Hendrix song, and immediately I'm like looking over, going, all right, where's Hogan? Like I never, it sucks that when they watch the Peacock or back in the WWE Network, they changed it to the NWO theme and they took away Jimi Hendrix. But man, that was iconic. Him coming out with if he ever went to AEW, which Tony Khan says he never will, but if he ever went to AEW, he would have to come out to that song. He would, right? I mean, because that's just what they would spend the money for it.
I want to answer Matthew's question up here. Do you think any old OVW stars would come back? I will just tell you this: you may have not seen a lot in front of the crowd, but I've seen a multitude of former OVW stars already popping up in the backstage area over the last few weeks, and I'll just leave it at that. So
I've seen them out in the crowd too. Just this week, I saw Jamin Olivencia was sitting next to me, and there was somebody else. I've already forgotten. But every week there's been. I remember looking over and telling Teresa, "There's so and so from a couple years back," or there's a couple weeks ago, we saw Jesse Bell was there, and just every week there's been different people. That's been awesome to see because it makes it really feel like a college team where their alumni is coming back to walk the sidelines and cheer on the team. It's been awesome.
So I just update on Austin with Babyface Pod. He is in the process of getting into his studio where he can come live here. So.
By the way, thanks, Clint, for saying that I get favorite podcast. So I appreciate that.
Actually, he said, give it to for the Ringside Podcast of the Year. I don't know what that means, but Linda, you are the Ringside Podcast of the Year.
Yeah, I know. I think I got what that meant, so that's why I just
I
just kind of broke it apart.
I'm gonna say this. I was gonna. I don't know what some future holds, but there was talks about kind of a change in scenery on the Ringside Podcast, and I'm okay with Linda being the Ringside Podcast and just letting her have the show, and I'll just go off in the sunset. Like, it's fine. I can set it off, put it in good hands. I'm good with that for sure.
Before we bring those guys on, we wanna shout out some of our sponsors real quick.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good opportunity. I was going to do it a minute ago, and then I got sidetracked. So thanks for bringing it up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Collar and Elbow. That's right. When you go to collarandelbowbrand.com, use promo code Ringside, all capital letters. You save 10% and you help the Ringside Podcast out in the process. Some of the best wrestling apparel there is today, Collar and Elbow. And that promo code Ringside, again, is going to give you a discounted rate on the best merch. There's more than just the mirror collection, but that's my favorite. I love the mirror collection. I love the different side. I love the black, the gray, the blue. And they've even had a red at one time. I love that too as well. But get yourself a Collar and Elbow shirt. I'm telling you, for any wrestling fan out there, they will not be disappointed. So many designs to choose from. Again, promo code Ringside, and you will save today.
And to make sure you are covered anytime, anywhere, visit ProWrestlingInsurance.com. Chat with a great friend, Chris. He can give you a little bit more info about this affordable monthly supplemental coverage, as low as $8 a month. That can make sure that you get a check written out to you if you get hurt. I know that sounds interesting, but the difference with this supplemental coverage is that versus regular health insurance, where you might get a discounted, charge, if you will, for any hospital bills. But with this affordable supplemental coverage through ProWrestlingInsurance.com, you would then also get a check written out to you to help pay for those costs, and then any remaining funds you can use that on anything. But again, ProWrestlingInsurance.com. Visit Chris, find out how to save, to make sure you're covered anytime, anywhere, or if you're hosting an event. And again, this coverage is available for everyone. There's a direct link in our show notes, or just go to ProWrestlingInsurance.com. Tell Chris we sent you.
And Manscaped. That is what people are looking to have stuffed in their stocking this year, because once they have that stuffed in their stockings will be less stuffy, if you know what I mean. That's right. Get Manscaped 20% off and free shipping with the promo code referee, and get everything smooth so you will be able to slip down the chimney easier than ever. They've got the Performance Package 4.0. Hey, take it any way you want it, Jeremy. The Performance Package 4.0, which we talked about all of 2023, but now the Performance Package 5.0 is in the house. You can get the brand new Lawnmower 5.0, which has interchangeable heads. You've got the trimmer head, and you've also got the foil head that will get it even closer of a shave on all of those sensitive areas. You've also got the Weed Whacker, which is great for nose and ear hair. And you know what? You can even throw in the beard trimmer. Daniel and I love the beard trimmer. We use it on a regular basis. So definitely check it out. All of the wonderful products there at manscaped.com. It makes a great gift for the holidays. 20% off and free shipping with the code referee at manscaped.com.
If you're having to slide through a chimney, I think we got bigger issues. Shout out to our friends at CapGo Championship Belts. Christmas is coming up, and the wrestling fan in your life deserves a quality piece of wrestling memorabilia. The Sam and Jeremy have just the treat for you. To get your dream belt made, contact our guy Abdul, and he will set you up immediately. It's easy. Join the Facebook group CapGo Championship Belts. Tell them the current title you want, or design your own. CapGo Championship Belts are made with high quality, and they have great customer service. Just send a message to start your consultation today. CapGo Championship Belts. Get your dream title today. And don't forget to mention Ringside for 15% off your total order.
All right. And finally, guys, we're going to talk about cornbread hemp. That's right. But you go to cornbreadhemp.com, use promo code Ringside. You're going to save 50%. Some of the best CBD products out there on the market. The sleep gummies is one of my favorites. I actually haven't been able to sleep for the last couple of days, so definitely the sleep gummies have helped me tremendously. And I know Eric talked about they helped him sleep on a plane because he had a hard time sleeping on a plane. So you can take them anytime, use them anywhere. Well, as long as you're not driving heavy machinery. But cornbreadhemp.com and slash ringside, and then use promo code ringside, save yourself 50%. And once again, when you do that, you're helping the Ringside Podcast out. All of these sponsors, when you're helping us out, you're helping them out, and you're getting rewarded with great products. So there you go. All right.
The sliding through the chimney, that's my favorite innuendo so far. Kudos to you, Eric, on that one.
Not in your window, in the chimney. I don't know.
Chimney. That's what did I say window? I meant chimney.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I thought you meant to say innuendo.
Oh, yeah, I said that's my favorite innuendo. Not my favorite window.
In the window.
I know.
All right.
I know what he said, Linda.
All right, Eric has a question. Would OVW ever do an interactive show like WB did with Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday?
I was there.
I don't know. I don't know. That would have been a good question to ask Ed when he was on. Eric, you're about 40 minutes late, but or maybe 20 minutes late. But that, I mean, that's something that I think it would be different. I would want to make it differently than what they did. So I would want to try to come up with a different way of doing it. Doing an interactive way, I don't know. We do live stream through YouTube and stuff and Facebook, and there's comments. So maybe somebody can comment and we can pass that on to, the talent in the ring and say, hey, you got to do this now. I don't know. That would be
one of my favorite moments back then is when I think it was Chris Jericho defending the Intercontinental title, and he had like about 9 different people he could have defended it against, and Shelton Benjamin was picked, and I think that was kind of the dark horse, but it was a legit vote. Put him in there and made the call to switch over the Intercontinental title. I thought that was pretty cool.
He even said in the documentary on that he had no idea it was going to be him, that it truly was he didn't expect to hear his name called. So that was a cool moment to hear that. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what show he was on, but it was one of the podcasts. And so that was a really cool moment. That's one of my favorite moments from Taboo Tuesday as well.
Eric said that Jeremy and Linda are the NWO A team, while Daniel and Eric are the NWO B team. So I guess we're red and black. Actually, really, the funny thing is, I think me and Jeremy are more red and black, and you guys are more white, and because of us being the Louisville fans, right?
I don't know why. Why is everybody trying to cause this division between the teams? There's no division here.
I know. Right. That's right.
No division, not at all. Not at all. I'm waiting on.
We are the 4 horse men and women.
The 4 horse people.
4 horse people.
That's right.
Say horsemen. That's what it was.
Hey, don't censor Eric. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't mean to cover his face. All right.
Well, while we're waiting for the guys, I know while we had Ed on the show, we had some comments and posts come. So appreciate everybody for mentioning all the great things. Dustin mentioned some cool things. He's there each and every week at the arena as well. And again, just all the interaction. I know we appreciate this, and I know usually we're able to respond more during that, but during the interview we did see that, so we appreciate those kind words. And if they weren't kind, I don't think I saw anything not kind, but we appreciate your interaction.
Why is Brad Bacon the greatest heel ever? Do you, Eric? Do you agree?
I could give you so many reasons. I mean, so many reasons. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many reasons. You just have. There's some of them you can even find if you search through the archives of YouTube, like back in the early days of video. You can probably find some stuff. But yeah, Brad Bacon. If you don't know who he is, just know he should be in the Hall of Fame.
One of the things we talked about streaming and stuff earlier, it was breaking news the end of last week that another company that I'm familiar with and work for, TNA, is launching TNA Plus, which is going to replace the Impact Plus field. And it's actually going to be on Endeavor streaming, and Endeavor is the same company that owns TKO, which owns WWE and UFC, and then Endeavor Streaming is a platform of that, which I have a feeling eventually the Peacock stuff is going to move over there when that contract ends. But and it's going to be pretty amazing type of, if you read it or looked into it. It's not only going to have just stuff that Impact Plus has, but it's actually going to be able to give you a tier that allows you to get all the top 4 premium pay-per-views. You don't have to pay $40 for them when they're on Fight or whatever. And it's going to actually, I think I don't think I misunderstood. I think Impact is moving away from Fight altogether. So everything is going to be done through this app, which is going to be phenomenal because Endeavor Streaming is one of the top leaders when it comes to streaming that type of stuff. So
it'll have more of a WWE network feel to it. Not to compare it directly to WWE, but it'll have more of a network feel to it than a.
It will. And you can. And obviously, I don't know if WWE Network did this, but we did this with Impact Plus, and it was a big hit. Is that not only you pay your monthly subscription fee, but you can even buy the yearly thing, and you get it like a discounted rate. So if you buy a year, you're saving $20-$30 by the whole year compared to doing the monthly rate. I don't think WWE ever did that. I think they always were. I think they did a 3-month, but it was still the same cost of, buying it $9.99 for 3 months. They never.
I'll just say this. Like the whole Peacock project, I think is ultimately kind of sucked. I mean, to be honest with you, and I think WWE Network had its problems when it first launched, but I mean, I want to see more of the classic stuff, and I know that's not what everybody wants, but like I want to be able to go and see more of the old, like primetime wrestling stuff, and they've literally not added any extra stuff than what they had on the WWE Network 5-6 years ago.
So here's what stuff. What if they did this? And this is what they should have done, honestly, because Peacock, I get being what it is. Why couldn't they keep the WWE Network and then say our we have, we could do it similar to what kind of TNA does. We can say, look, our premium live events or certain things, certain pay-per-views are on WWE Network. But the big 4 or 5, your WrestleManias, your Royal Rumbles, your Survivor Series, SummerSlam, maybe even Money in the Bank, or throw in one of those overseas ones or whatever. Those are on Peacock, and leave that kind of separate. And yes, hang on, leave that kind of separate. And yes, it would have made things a little weird, but it made you pay double, I guess, but it would have actually benefited. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe, well, hang on, no screen. Austin, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah,
we can.
We just can't see me yet.
You can't? No, you're like John Cena.
Okay, Cena.
That's what I feel like. All right. Now it's
maybe it is Cena. How do we know it's not?
That's a good question, brother. How do I get this up here? I'm at there's an A. I just don't know how to we have these webcams, but when it came up, it gave me 15 webcam options.
Oh, so you said
I don't
select
know which
the right
one of those are this. It's
you have to
just
select them all. You have to go through and select them all.
My goodness. Is there a way to try it on here, or do I have to back out to get on?
No, you should be able to still try it. You just go to and select it.
All right.
You should be able to.
Let me try this.
I only have one option. So, he backed out. He lost him. Well, I'll bring him back in when he comes back. So I'm excited, finally.
Pal. Huh? This is live TV, pal.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That magic of those beautiful iHeart studios,
Right.
We get it. We're going through the growing pains too with our new production at OVW, and I know iHeart is still relatively new there in those studios there.
Yeah.
At 4th Street Live.
Did they shut the other ones down?
Yes.
They did. Okay.
Yeah. I believe we'd have to talk to Austin, but I do believe that those are done. Which crazy story, and again, this is total sidebar, that I at one time was doing construction for my dad when those were first built.
Okay.
There on Bishop Lane in Louisville. Yeah, that was before I got in the radio business.
That studio is where Cardinal Sports Zone was born. As I've told y'all before, like Matt led us on for a little while. while he was looking for somebody to take over the 11 to noon or the noon to 1 guy bounced on him, and he had us on for a couple guest spots, and he had us in there, and it's still Austin Cena in the house.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous.
Well, we can at least talk to you. And that's
there you go. That's fine with me. That's fine with you. I have a face for radio, anyways. You don't need to see.
Hey,
me.
dude, being a radio guy for so long, I totally understand. It's still weird seeing my face up there.
Hey, Austin, by the way, Austin, that Venmo did go through. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's good talking to you on such short notice. I know we've been in contact here, so.
Yeah. I mean, I did have to step out of an OVW event a couple of weeks ago to take your phone call, and I appreciate it.
You know how special that makes us feel now. You had to go blow up my head, Jeremy. Thank you.
Hey, look, I do what I can. I just appreciate all the attention you've been giving me here lately. It's
sure.
Awesome. It's been awesome.
I mean, you're going to be on the same. Well, I mean, you're going to be on the same payroll as Shannon the Dude, Matt Jones.
Well, wait a minute. Shh. Allegedly.
Well, we're still working.
We just love giving other podcasts like a forum here to where they can hop on and we can lift each other up. So we're just glad. I'm trying to get as far away from the other thing you were talking about as possible. That's not knowledge yet, but
it's almost like somebody
no tampering going on.
It's almost like somebody said something on the show earlier about something that we kind of alluded to, but we can't talk about either. When it comes to jobs and different changes happening, and then it sounds like we're kind of in the same little boat there.
See, this is where you get all the inside information. So Austin, let's talk about you and your podcast, along with your buddy Billy.
Sorry, he couldn't make it.
Well, so it's probably past his bedtime. He's just a kid, right?
Yeah, so, that's true. Yeah,
that's what happened.
It was about hours ago.
So you guys both work at iHeart Louisville. Both actually, stumbled into one of my dream jobs, which never happened to me. But you both work for the great WAMZ, which I had a chance to intern probably before you were born, but that's another story. So let's talk about how the Babyfaces podcast came about.
Well, it all started. I worked in, once again, Eric, Daniel, Jeremy, Linda. Thank you so much for having me on. It really means a lot. When I first stepped into OVW after the pandemic into Davis Arena, I saw the big ringside banner hanging loud and proud, and I knew one day I had to make it there. When I got to that point, I was at the top. And so, me and Billy, we turned out to be really good friends. We found out that he had a love for wrestling just as well. That's always been my thing. I always loved professional wrestling. I always got teased for it. Was always a nerd in middle school because of my love for wrestling. So it's fake, right? You watch that fake stuff, right? So, me and Billy just kind of came about and talking about it. I think it was one time after the pandemic, right before WrestleMania 37, the one that when they just came back, he said, we work at iHeartRadio. Let's just start a podcast. And so we kind of did, because we would always just sit and shoot the S back and forth with each other. And then it just kind of started off with just me on my iPhone and him on his computer. And we just kind of did it that way. And we started off getting a couple OVW people were very nice enough to come join with us. And even Tony Vanetti, the great Tony Vanetti here of Louisville, and OVW great Tony Vanetti just as well. He was one of our first big guests. So we've just kind of taken it and ran with it. Being a part of iHeart really helps. We have a good relationship with WWE and AEW. And of course, OVW guys have been absolutely awesome with getting us superstars and giving us a platform to kind of branch out, because we wouldn't be anywhere without the local wrestling and the people that kind of make it possible, and that is you guys. So it's been really cool to meet people like that, meet you guys, and just meet people along the way. I'm really living my childhood dream.
Yeah, Austin, I too was teased in middle school and high school for watching
I still am.
that fake stuff, right? But I found a friend there. His name is Mike. I still see him come to local shows up in Wisconsin, and it's crazy. Even many years since high school, still see him. And we just relate back, like we were like really close, because every Tuesday morning we talk about what happened the night before on Raw and after the big pay-per-view. So I hear where you're coming from. Absolutely.
Yeah. When I was growing up in wrestling, wrestling wasn't. We obviously didn't have YouTube, or I wasn't really privy to the IWC and all that and the online wrestling community. So I was just without nothing after a pay-per-view. Like, I was, as much as I wanted to sit and talk about it and decompress for the next 3 hours, I didn't know to go on a YouTube show. I didn't know. Always wondered if they should have a WWE Sports Center, you know, when it gets done wrapped up, to talk about for the next 2 hours, because I wasn't ready to go to bed right after seeing some of that. Like when John Cena returned for the Royal Rumble, you think that I was going to want to go to bed right after that? I wanted to sit and reflect on that. Well, now we have it. We now have podcasts. We now have different outlets that we could get it out to. And like you said, Linda, just talk about it on your friends on the next day, saying what just happened. Now we could do it like right after the shows.
Which we do.
The reaction shows are awesome.
Yeah.
Being able to just in the heat of the moment. I mean, myself leaving SummerSlam, I was ready to. I was so hyped, but just walking down the street from Ford Field back to the hotel after the press conference and stuff, it was amazing, and I love traveling to do those type of things as well. That needs to be your next goal. I don't tell a lot of people what to do other than Daniel, but he don't listen to me either. That's why I'm kind of.
So just a lot of people don't listen to you then.
Yes. My wife
sounds about right. You mentioned that a couple times.
Teresa, shout out to my wife Teresa.
Shout out Teresa.
But it's just like your next. You need to do one of those WWE press conferences. There's nothing like being. They've got like the front room for all the people that come every time, but then they've got a back room for the newbies and stuff. And being able to just be back there for the newbie stuff in Detroit, it was awesome.
Dude, I can only imagine.
Yeah, you should. I can see you doing that for sure. I mean, they do it in the big places, so I guess the next one they're going to do it with is Royal Rumble. So get yourself to Tampa.
That's in Florida, right? Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa. Yeah, so get yourself to Tampa, and then you can do it.
We got to find a way to do that. You know, Tampa's not too far away.
No.
Also, after the show, when we have our little meeting after the show, I'll send you the email. I did get an email for press credentials for the Rumble. I don't know that I'm going to be able to go. I'll forward that email to you, and you can
please
handle business.
Please, we'll do that over. I mean, we'll get together sometime.
Yeah. Sometimes
we'll talk about it as friends. Yeah.
We don't really talk too much other than work.
Right.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly. So real quick, Austin, I want to hear your thoughts on CM Punk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna guess the return, right? The return to WWE. I think. Sure. I
mean, what else is there to talk about? I mean, what else did he do?
I mean, who knows? He could be jumping to another company over 24 hours, right? No, it's been really, really cool. I think, as I like to tweet out, I'm a what people would call an E-drone, right? When people start making fun of you for liking WWE too much over AEW. So I guess our babyface have gotten towards that, but WWE feels like it's back, and part of the reason is strictly because of CM Punk. I was never one of the real diehards. I was actually on the spectrum of, well, are the fans paid your bills, Phil? And back when he did the Colt Cabana podcast, I just really kind of never understood it, because I just kind of started hopping back into wrestling back when the Shield first started back up, the Wyatt family during that SummerSlam, and CM Punk was feuding with Brock Lesnar at the time. And I think that's when they brought in Ryback, and just everything in the world was going wrong with CM Punk. So I got to see him leave once I finally got back into wrestling a little bit, and he just left. So it's cool to see him back how he is. I guess everyone mends their fences. I know everyone's not really happy about his promo 2 weeks ago with "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money," but he seemed to have a really good promo last week on SmackDown, and everything that he did last night with Seth Rollins on Raw was gold. I even tweeted out, this feud is going to feed families for generations, because it's real. That's one thing. I don't mean to go ahead and knock any other promoters or ruin any relationships, but like, this is real. That's one thing that WWE knows how to do. It's take real backstage heat that these guys have, because obviously Seth Rollins, CM Punk probably don't like each other, but they are willing to work with each other. And that's just something that Tony Khan could have got huge money out of the Bucks and Kenny Omega months ago if these guys just wanted to sit down and do it, but it just never seemed to matriculate. So it's really cool to see him back in WWE doing his thing. We could just only hope that he doesn't really rub anybody the wrong way, because for the longest time over the last couple of years, it seems like WWE's locker room morale has been really, really good. And I can only hope that doesn't ruin anything with CM Punk coming back. And for all intents and purposes, he says he's changed.
Well, it certainly doesn't seem like anybody's fearing for their life right now. So
yeah, no one's getting punched in the face. Well, he doesn't have Ace Steel there with him. That's his thing.
That's it.
That was absolutely one of the most awesome promo lines ever. You know, it's 2023. You can't be punching people in the face backstage.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you know, it's shocking to see. I mean, you know, the rumors were out there, and it was true. He was pretty much on his way to TNA, for a short stint. I don't think for a long time, but man, it's you know, kudos to WWE for coming in and going, and kudos to Punk to taking the offer and going, you know, and not being like, you know, I'm not going back to this place. I mean, he did try to do men fences and stuff like you know, back in April. When he showed up at the Allstate Arena to see his friends or whatever, but he was told to leave because obviously him being under contract, and they just didn't want any issues there. And he did. He left. He was like, I got it. He wasn't invited. It was just, you got to go. Now at TNA, we let you come in. We talk talk wrestling. We don't talk business because you're under contract. But if you come and show up and hang out, we have an open door policy. So that's why. That same week, he was at TNA, or, you know, hanging out, and then, you know, 6 months later, he was there again, hanging out. You know, so it's one of those things that it's cool to see people just be friendly and chat and have a good time. But
that was really cool to see him, because it wasn't just you all. He popped up to a couple of indie spots too that same week. I believe it was the same week or same 2-week period at least. And just to see him at all the different places and seeing all the teases, it was awesome. But here's the thing, and Eric, you are my spirit animal, so to speak. Because whenever I get worked up about something, you tell me, oh, you're overthinking it, you're underthinking it. It is what it is. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, social media, if you will, say, oh, the only reason WWE is good again is because AEW is here. But I disagree. I agree, but I disagree. I feel like the reason why WWE slumped for the last 4 or 5 years prior to AEW's existence is because they just got complacent. They're like, we can do anything we want to. We're still going to make money. Now, some people would say, well, then that's AEW making them better. I'd like to think it's just WWE getting off their butts and deciding, you know, we're able to get the Cody Rhodes back. We're able to get the CM Punks back. We've got guys that are getting old and leaving. We've got new guys ready to step up. But I don't 100% credit it to just AEW being around, because they've not been all that great as a whole. Am I overreacting by saying they don't have any part in it? Or would you give them just a small piece of the credit for WWE's resurgence?
Is this
you asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking Eric.
No.
I'm my freaking spirit animal, dude.
No,
I'm my spirit animal.
Now here, I will tell you, it does have. I think it has something to do with AEW, and the only reason is because if you don't, you know, have AEW, you don't have Cody getting back to where he needed to be. You don't have him shaking off his, you know, his Stardust character and becoming what he is, because the Cody that you see now is not even the Cody that you saw at, you know, New Japan. It's not the NWA Cody. This is the AEW Cody that we're seeing now. You know, now the Punk, thankfully we're seeing the Punk that a little bit of the Punk that we saw in WWE, which is nice because the AEW Punk was a little weird. But like, you know, I mean, it's a good thing you have AEW, because people can go over there and, you know, practice whatever. And some people are better over there. I mean, I'll tell you right now, like Aleister Black, Malachi Black is better over there.
I'll give you that.
Not everybody's better over there, but
or
there's
like thinking they're Christian's character now. I mean,
yes, you're right.
Now,
Chris. Yeah, I'll give you that too. Tony Storm is better over there. But then there's some people that aren't. You know, there's some Miro is not. You know, and I don't think Edge is. Well, yeah. But anyway, I think it's not AEW is not the reason WWE is so good. But right now, I think AEW being there helps WWE be better. Okay. If that makes sense.
I was trying to rationalize in my head, because I don't want to give them any credit ever, and I felt like I was giving them too much. I felt like that the internet wrestling community was giving them a little bit too much credit. Yeah. That's what they do when they can't say, "Oh, we beat WWE." They say, "Well, we're the only reason why they're doing well right now." That's just how they rationalize things.
I think you make a good point because it's not necessarily sure. WWE was in a dark place about 5-6 years ago, storytelling wise, pushing characters wise. I mean, they were still trying the Roman Reigns experience just as the top dog. And this was years before the whole tribal chief thing ever really gained its legs. I mean, they were doing Miro and Lana and Bobby Lashley storylines. They were doing Liv Morgan and Lana storyline. It was weird. So, but the thing is with WWE over in the times before AEW, it seems afterwards, it's WWE's always had their own, like, I mean, they were making movies 10 years ago. So they have their own movie production studio. They have their own writers. They've always had it, but for the longest time, especially in that span, let's say from 2014 to 2019, when they first started the whole All Elite, it was kind of going through a rough time. And there's nothing wrong with saying the development of AEW, just because that seems to market towards the crowd that all the internet wrestling fans are becoming a fan of. Once they start getting into that market, then that's probably what caused them to kind of stop chasing the casual fans and maybe more or less go after those hardcore fans, the ones that ended up switching over. Because for the longest time, I'm canceling my WWE network if Brock Lesnar wins again. And people were just doing that all the time. Or if Roman Reigns wins again, we're canceling the network. Well, people were ready to go over to something new. And I think WWE just kind of went back to their roots a little bit with one long-term storytelling, or just storytelling in general, and just like the production aspect. And they've seemed to be on top of that over the last couple of years. And they've always had it, but it just got pretty complacent. And that, I guess, in this kind of wrestling conglomerate, they put a scare into WWE a little bit. Not like a, my God, we're going down, but we better get our shit ready kind of scare, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mason had a good point as well. He says Vince not being in control of booking has made it great again as well. I will say there's been a dramatic change. And even when Vince came back into control for a couple of months earlier in the year, you could feel almost somebody hitting the brakes. It was a pump the brakes almost. All right, all these pushes stopped. We're going to push who I wanted to begin with. And then when he left again, those earlier ones resumed. So it was absolutely Triple H being in charge over Vince is also attributed to their success, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
Yeah.
Austin, where can they listen? Where can they listen to the Babyfaces pod at? I'm sure everywhere they can listen to this one, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, iHeartRadio is probably the number one thing to do it. That free iHeartRadio app. Just go in and type in the Babyfaces. You can hear me and Billy talk. You guys can stand. I know you guys are a little bit more professional than we are, and you guys know how to ask the questions. And you've been around the business a lot. We're just a couple fans that just ask fan questions. So if you could stand to listen to us pepper a bunch of wrestlers with random questions, and that's your podcast. We've had on cool people like it. Probably the same. We've had on the same guests that you guys have. You guys either get them before or after, or it's vice versa. We've had on Kofi Kingston. We've had the Big Show. You guys got to see a Big Show a couple months ago when he came down. Double J, Jeff Jarrett. We've had Rhea Ripley on. We've had Candice LeRae on. It's been a much more. Sheamus has been on, and you can all go find that out on iHeartRadio. That's where it's at.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'll accept an invitation anytime you want me on. I mean, I'm not Rhea Ripley, but whatever. No, I'll be glad to join you on your old show too. So thank you for coming on with us.
No, it was an absolute pleasure. We'd love to have, as much as we've already had Daniel on. We're still waiting we're going to wait for the perfect time to get Jeremy on. That one's been years in the making, and I think after our big deal, it's all going to make plenty of sense. Before I get out of here, let me go ahead and ask you guys something, just because this is something that's been on my mind just as a wrestling fan, and I just love to kind of ask about it. I'm a huge Roman Reigns fan, and a couple years ago when they were pushing the whole big dog thing, I was kind of on the fence about it. I was one of those, like, I could see where this guy has it, but like his presentation, it's just not it. I did not really care for the vest after 3 years after the Shield broke up. The same music, the same entrance. There's sometimes people just need, and they did the greatest thing ever with him, with turning him into this tribal chief thing. And that's been going on. My biggest thing, guys, the people of Ringside Podcast, am I living in my own bubble, or are you guys seeing this too? Because I've been trying to manifest this at least for the better part of the year, and it's the only reason I bought tickets to WrestleMania in Hollywood last year. Do we ever get Roman Reigns versus The Rock?
I think so.
You would think it would have happened by now, right? At WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, I would think. And then a couple months ago, you had Rock come back, and it's to fight or to slap Austin Theory. I thought that would get the wheels in motion, but it would kill me that this storyline, probably the best storyline WWE has ever put on, if this whole tribal chief bloodline thing, it ends once Roman Reigns loses the title. All this is done once he loses, because he's probably going to Hollywood. I feel like you can't have this story without The Rock, right? Or am I just being a fan?
No, I definitely can see this happen. And, you brought up a good point that Roman Reigns probably gone to Hollywood at some point. I mean, further, having a Hollywood type career such as The Rock, Cena, etc. But I think there's still time. I mean, as far as WrestleMania cities, it's that bidding war, right? It's not so much where it's like you get to host WrestleMania and it may be 10 plus years till you get to go back. It can be right back in Hollywood before we know it. And I'm just going to bring up one point, because I remember seeing this when Paul Heyman was on NXT. Remember that moment in back where he was talking to Simone or Ava, Rock's
That's
daughter?
right.
There's a little hint
That's
there.
right. You kind of showed her the bloodline thing. That could be like crumbs, but it feels like they've hardly touched that since. So
I'd say it's all in The Rock's hands, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they pull the trigger in a second. It's just kind of up to him. And I think, he's the one that they've got to convince. And it's custom made to slip him in. If he never makes it into the storyline, that's fine. But I think it can be done. And I think if you go back in the back episodes of this podcast, I think we talked about, he could lose the title and still have The Rock there, because, all The Rock's got to say is, who made you tribal chief? That's it. I mean, that's the line. That's all you got.
Exactly. I missed the wrestling part. I missed it. I was in high school when they did The Rock versus Cena. So I kind of missed that whole fanfare, because The Rock and John Cena are probably two of my favorites. I'm not even saying that I want the Rock to beat Roman Reigns. Honestly, make Roman Reigns just go ahead and beat Hollywood Hulk Hogan's. Just at this point, just go ahead and beat him, because I don't see any. I don't like Cody Rhodes' story. I love Cody Rhodes, but I don't like his story with beating Roman Reigns for the title, because it just seems all square peg and round hole. I think that they had The Rock probably signed, sealed, and delivered last year. I had some intel from a guy that knew some things that said that they were going to keep the ball in rolling at Raw 30 when they had that tribal, the Sami Zayn court, the tribal court with Sami Zayn. They originally had planned to do some sort of like a acknowledgement ceremony of Roman Reigns and the Usos, and from word is Rock's mom was going to be there, and that was going to be the only person that didn't bow down to Roman Reigns, and that was going to kickstart everything off. Once they officially got the no because of the whole Vince stuff, I don't think that The Rock wanted to be seen in the light of Vince through all those allegations. He said no, and they immediately switched it to Cody. They made it work, but I didn't get the Cena Roman Reigns. I didn't get the Cena Rock star power and that lead up once in a lifetime. I didn't feel that. I'm ready to feel that now that I've been so invested and I've been following Roman Reigns' story. I'm ready. I want that match for him, and I want it for the rest of wrestling, because that could be the next big wrestling match that WWE probably ever has, and they need to capitalize on it.
In my opinion on the situation, I don't know that it's anything that happens imminently either. I think after President Johnson steps down from the White House, it may be something that is, all jokes aside, I think something like that doesn't have to be done right away. He can go. I wanted it to happen right away, but then as you sit back and think, if Roman's going to go to Hollywood like we all suspect, it's something you can do in a couple of years. Sort of like when they did the Rock Cena thing, where they announced the match a year in advance, and they were able to. Even though I thought that was so stupid at the time, I was like, "There's no way they're going to be able to make this viable for a whole year," and they did it. They proved me wrong. And I'm another one that absolutely couldn't stand the big dog. Daniel could tell you. I don't remember if Eric was on the show yet then, but I hated everything about Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I even went out and bought a Roman Reigns action figure so I could beat it up against the desk anytime Daniel talked about him on the podcast.
No.
I did, and I absolutely. He's one of my favorite parts of WWE right now.
Shows you what character can do. It's facial expressions, it's character, it's talking, and I mean, my God, I don't care if he could wrestle for 45 minutes. One thing I will go ahead and admit, they need to change something about the way his matches go. I've seen Roman Reigns actually work good matches with other guys, different sizes, but they've gotten way too comfortable in the interference. It was cool when they were debuting other players. Clash at the Castle. Usos weren't there. Sami Zayn was just brought into it. Sami Zayn. My God, what's Roman Reigns going to do now? Oh my God, did we forget about Solo Sikoa? And then just these layers, there just hasn't been anything like that since. And it's been kind of odd. They definitely need to get this story refreshed. And I think that Randy Orton is a good enough pro to kind of bring it back out and get the whole bloodline and Roman Reigns going. You guys can tell I love Roman Reigns. I just want him back on my TV.
Yeah,
I'm sick of Seth Rollins. I'm sick of it.
Oh, I love Seth Rollins. I love them both. But I mean, he's gotten. Suffer and Succotash. He's gotten so much better on the microphone as well. It's like night and day.
Yeah, it was
It'd
embarrassing.
be like bringing Justin Kruger back on the show and have him talk for 5 minutes, and then have the People's Champion, the ratings spike, aka 55, talk for 5 minutes. There's such a difference between the quality of the two. All the props in the world. He has improved exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been a blast. Sorry for showing up a little bit late. We can blame iHeart because we had a concert that they brought me up to do in Lexington and had me get back here an hour before. So I'm off the next couple days, though. We're good.
All right, buddy. Well, appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much, and we'll see you.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. I'll keep in contact with you. And Jeremy, you already know, brother.
And we'll see you down the road.
The Venmo went through, baby.
We'll see you on down the road. And when Jeremy's sitting at me with OVW soon and we're making business talks, please don't get mad, man.
Hey, give my buddy Dingo a virtual high five for me.
I sure will. I'll let Dingo know. I think I'm going to be seeing him next week.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
Y'all take it easy.
Guys.
Okay,
Thanks, Austin.
See you, Austin. All right, guys. There you go. That's I'm going to end it here. We've kind of went a little over than we normally do just with everything going on. So thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're listening to the audio version, thank you for listening. You can catch us all on the podcast avenues: Google Play, Stitcher Radio. Actually, Stitcher's not available anymore. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, everywhere you can listen to us. Yes, you can get us all on the video platforms live on YouTube. Subscribe today at Ringside Podcast. We're on the Facebook. Click like at Ringside Podcast on that, and you'll get the live stream there. On the Twitter at Ringside Podcast, Instagram at Ringside, the whole 9 yards. You could just, we're on Twitch too at Ringside Podcast. You'll be able to see us anywhere you can watch. So check us out and all that stuff. Individually on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Daniel Spencer.
Sorry, I'm over here twitching. You said we were on Twitch. I'm at Jeremy_CSZ.
You can find me online at Eric on the Air.
You can find me on the Insta at LindaKPWR, or you can go to my website, lovelyLindaK.com. Social links there as well as the merch store. I got a shout out to you. Again, thank you.
What's in the merch store, Linda?
The 2024 13-month Wall Linda Calendar, and this applies to all of us here as far as our gear. If you order it through this week, I think that is that guarantee that you'll get it before Christmas. But even if it's after the fact, for all of us, support us all. We love your support as well. So
you can have Linda on your wall all year long.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. In the meantime,
until next time, you can catch us ringside.
Don't call this your home.
See ya.